we can make a difference in this world. And I don't believe that it has to be something big fancy, right? I mean, doing like this like $1 million charity, we don't have to do that, but this is how we can make a huge difference in the world every day. And it is simply by, for example, saying thank you to the people we meet around when we're doing our stuff. I took one of my cats to the vet's office today, and the Uber driver had to wait maybe like a couple more minutes or 5 minutes because I was just trying to get my cat to the Uber, and I was really appreciative that he waited for me. He didn't even text me or anything like that, like he just waited without like anything. And so I was really grateful that he did that, and so I said thank you to him when I entered the cab, and also like when I like exited the cab, I said, hey, like thank you so much for waiting for me. And he said, you're welcome. And sometimes it can be just as simple as that. I was at this nail salon, not nail salon, at this place at my vet's office, and this person at the reception had like really pretty like nail art, and I have been looking into like upping my nails game by having some nails art now. And so I was like, hey, like do you have a salon? And they're like, no. And a friend beside him goes, I have been telling him to like do this, but he hasn't been doing this. Like he should like open a salon or something like that. And then I just said, you know, like if you were to open a salon, it doesn't even have to be that way. It can be a little corner in your home where you do nails for people. Like I would totally come in and I would totally pay for that. I would totally do that with you. And so it's simple encouragements like that that matters, because like as a psychic person now, like I could clearly see that his desires were in those nails, and he is supposed to one of the ways that he is going to be of service in this world is by doing nails for people. And I could see his passion, I could feel his desire to have a salon. I could see his timeline right there. And a lot of times we withhold ourselves from pursuing our desires because we don't see ourselves as worthy enough. We have all of these things about, I don't have money, I don't have resources, I don't have this, but it's not none of those. It's, you know what it is? It's a matter of not having the confidence. Confidence is all that it takes. And when you grow up in a world or families where you're told your whole life how wrong you are, how incapable you are, how imperfect you are, how like piece of shit you are, then it is very hard to have that confidence that, yeah, I can build my nail business, right? And from scratch, from no money, you can build that. And so I, in that moment, like, you know, it's not my place to say, hey, this is what I see for you, but it is definitely my place to be supportive of that, what he was doing, and just saying something like, hey, like, I love it. If you were to open a salon, I would absolutely, be your customer. And that person was happy to hear that. And sometimes we need, sometimes one or few of those encouragement from others external to us in order to have that confidence within us. And these are the simple ways that we make differences in this world. And the same thing can go opposite too. Like, if you are critical of other people or just like entitled and then thinking, oh, like that Uber driver should wait, he better wait, then that goes the opposite way. it creates this negative cycle, right? And so, the simple way of making a huge difference in this world, and we don't always see that in terms of like our action right then and there, but it has a huge effect in this world. Something as simply as saying, hey, I'm so thankful that you waited for me today. It makes you feel good. It makes that person feel good. And then that person's day is going to get better because positive attracts positive. My day is going to get better because positive attracts positive, right? So I think sometimes you can also get stuck into this like, I want to achieve this big, but it really is a matter of making small things every day, doing small things every day. That makes a huge difference in this world. And that is simply like learning to be kind to others, saying thank you, having gratitude, and just simply being kind to yourself. That's all that matters that day and that moment, and that is okay. I was thinking about this morning on, I think I'm going through like some divorce paperwork and so forth, and so it's very easy for me to go into the cycle of like, oh my gosh, she's such a bitch, kind of go into like that. But I know very well at this point that there's no point, because like I can either like invest my energy into that. It means that I invest my energy into something negative, and then it attracts more negative things, and then that becomes like a whole negative thing, right? And that's how our life goes sometimes we go into the cycle of this for our whole life. I have seen it, so I have seen it very close and personal, and so I've seen the impact how our negative mindset or our negative like everyday action will bring such huge thing in this world. But also like, I also thought of like me taking to my cats, and my cats are like wonderful. I'm so grateful to have them. But the other side to that is I received these cats from actually not a great friend. She was an abusive friend, and I received these cats from her. And in life, with negative things, we also receive positive things. And not by saying that you receive cats with everything. No, my cats are special. But I think like our negative experiences teaches us resilience, teaches us like how to navigate life when you're running late for your Uber, or how to navigate life when I don't know an earthquake hits. This has been happening recently too. And so how to navigate life when worse things happen to us, because it naturally will happen to us. There are so many things beyond our control, but how do we still maintain that joy and gratitude within us, even though like we may face the world in a different way, right? We may face negative people, things, circumstances, whatever it is. Like, what positive can you take from that? And for me, with my cats, and even though my experience with the friend who's no longer my friend, was a really like bad experience for me, but also like I have to also acknowledge that like my internal world of shame and guilt attracted that friendship to me. So I had to work on my own being, like who am I, right? And so, and including the thing about my ex too, is that I have to like, I think like with my ex, like I it was a huge opportunity for me to see, like I truly didn't understand like how people like go negative way so fast, but I actually, being in that marriage was a huge lesson for me to see that what people can be stay in that negative world, that whole life. People can have resentments from like 40, 30 years and then just never get past that, and just be stuck in that and just like continue that. And I also like at one point even got to a place where I was so much into negative cycle that I felt like it was impossible for me to get out of my head, and I just saw like life to be living like impossible too. So I have been there too, but I've also been into a place where I have been able to switch that. And this past week was a bit of a challenge for me in terms of like those negative things kind of coming up to me, but I was able to change that. And not a lot of times we can do that right away, and it's okay. Sometimes we just need a nap. Sometimes we just need like a, oh my gosh, what is that?